My name is Ray McGovern. I had the good fortune of being in Moscow on April 25th, 2015, to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the meeting on the Elbe. We know, honest historians know that Russia, the Soviet Union, bore the brunt of the Nazi attack. But American logistical support was absolutely necessary and also played a crucial role. And I was reminded of that after I was given a chance to speak at this commemoration of the meeting on the Elbe. Uh, a general named Abdanov came up. He was an infantry general. And he said, Studebaker, 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 and he gave me a great big bear hug. Okay. Now, for those who don't know the crucial role that the auto manufacturer Studebaker played in providing all manner of really, really tough Jeeps and trucks and pieces to pull artillery for the Soviet forces in Europe. Well, just look it up, okay? It's very impressive. Now, those were times when we could do anything вместе, together. Okay, things have fallen apart. We are at a time where our relationship, that is the U.S. and Russia, are at a state of almost disrepair, almost complete disrepair. And the best I could do now is to figure out how we got out of this the last time we were close to a nuclear exchange, and that was 1962, 62 years ago, when Cuba came into the fore. And we also had an exchange. Were it not for John Kennedy and Nikita Khrushchev settling this peacefully, we would not be around today. And so I was looking at what John Kennedy said just several months later, not quite a year later, after that confrontation. He appealed for peace. He extended his hands to Nikita Khrushchev and the Russians and said, look, we Americans need to examine our own conscience, and we need not to accept the notion that war is inevitable. Man-made crises are made by men. They can be resolved by men. And I took some little notes on what else John Kennedy said. Again, this is just a year after we almost blew one another and the rest of the planet up. He said this, quote, among the many traits that the peoples of our two countries have in common, none is stronger than the fact that, almost unique among major world powers, we have never been at war with each other. And no nation, said John Kennedy, in the history of battle has ever suffered more than the Soviet Union suffered during the course of World War II. We know the figures, 26, 27 million people. So, practical advice from John Kennedy, then and now. And I'll close with this. Above all, says President Kennedy in this wonderful speech on peace at American University, June 10, 1963. Above all, nuclear powers must avoid giving an adversary a choice of either a humiliating defeat, a humiliating retreat, or nuclear war. To adopt that kind of course in the nuclear age would be evidence only of the bankruptcy of our policy and a collective death wish for the world. In summary, I fear that we're back to a situation that is worse than 1962. There is very little communication between our leaders. I worry that what almost happened uh, over Cuba, uh, will replace what happened 79 years ago when our two countries met our armed forces finally at the Elbe, and we decided вместе we could defeat the Nazis and we could do so much more. So, in the memory of Nikita Khrushchev and John Kennedy, let's pray that sensible leadership will avoid facing either side with a humiliating choice between retreat or choosing to use nuclear weapons. It has become a current fear of mine, and I've been around a long time. Thank you very much.